Hello, YouTube. Like, subscribe, and share. Well, my wife has concluded that Tasha Cooper is a liar, a fraud, a scammer, and a con woman. Okay? That's what we're dealing with. So we shouldn't even worry about her, right? Liar, fraud, scammer, con woman, and a pervert. That's the other thing, a pervert, a cyber perv. Okay? We already know that, right? Okay, well, let's talk about more about Gypsy and her, more to go to her psychological profile. What's going on there, I talked about, we hit on last time I discussed her, we know she's a covert narcissist. And I say she's borderline personality or disorder too, man, because of a lot of that has to do with relationships, okay? And her inability to form good relationships and stuff. And it's because normally the borderline person is either attracting messed up people to be with for some reason, because other issues maybe, or however they're doing in the relationship, they're the ones making it like tumultuous or up and down or dramatic or whatever. Dramatic's the right word, but you know what I mean. A lot of times, and they're not trying to necessarily, maybe, you know, maybe sometimes they are. I don't know, but they have problems with relationships, and a lot of it is because of abandonment and stuff. You know, they might start to get paranoid that someone who's not even got a problem with them or intending on leaving, but they're getting little signals that they think that or something, man, or or what have you. But so it's because of the relationship thing with her, not the evil shit. Okay, I want to make that clear. That's why I think that. All right, and also her self worth and all that. She might want to pretend whatever, but she knows what time it is. She knows what she's done. She knows she's all the evil and terrible things she's done. She's done nothing good to make up for it. Okay, she knows that. Okay, so let's talk about. My wife and I were discussing covert narcissists. These things aren't born. I don't know though. I don't know. I kind of see. She says they're not born. They're created. You because they're very evil, devious people. These are the most dangerous. These are, in my opinion, these are some of the most dangerous people there are. Okay, because on their face you think they're normal people until you figure out what's going on, and that they're sweet and kind. At least you guys, at least the real narcissists are assholes. The overt ones are assholes. They're both real narcissists. Are assholes, and you know that they think they're better than everybody, and you know they're ready to argue with you, and they know they're up front. They're like, well, this and that. I respect that much more. At least I know what the fuck I'm dealing with. These covert narcissists trick you every time, and they turn it all around and make you look like a total piece of shit. And you're not even you didn't do anything. All you're trying to do is be their friend or whatever, and they'll destroy you, man. They get off on it, and they got to have narcissistic supply, and these people, that's by way of people suffering. They have to see people suffering, and a lot of it is they have to be able to pull your strings. If they can push your emotional buttons, it doesn't matter what it is. If they can make you overly happy one day, or sad, or mad, or you can be mad, cuss them out, threaten to fight and kill them. They don't care, as long as they're able to cause it. As long as they want to be able to cause it to happen to you, that they can manipulate you to do that. These are very fucked up people, man. And it's this masks that they wear, okay? It is an actual mask. When the mask starts to slip, they freak out. And if they freak out too bad, there's something called a narcissistic injury occurs. And when that happens, all bets are off. All bets are off, okay? They're very dangerous. These people they're known to poison people. They're known to manipulate others into killing people. How about that? See, that's a trait of that, right? They're known to manipulate people into killing themselves. When they're dead set on someone, that someone's wronged them or whatever, or maybe they're in a relationship with someone and they left them, but it wasn't on their terms. If you leave a narcissist like that, you better be careful. You better have an escape route, because if it wasn't on their terms, if they didn't want it, and they got a vendetta against you, and they don't move on quick, and some of them might even move on and still got you in the back of their mind. Their ultimate goal, if they want to target you, is for you to commit suicide. This is how fucked up these people are, man. Okay? Anyway, they're not created. I mean, they are created. I'm sorry. They're not born that way. They're created. Okay. And this is what I'm understanding what I get from it. Okay. It's typically like the parents or well, caregiver, I guess, whoever, like it could be the grandparents or aunt and uncle, whatever. But the two primary caregivers in their life, right? One of them dotes on them or spoils them or whatever. And then the other one is either hard on them or is absent or is even living there but an absent parent. You guys know what that means. Like they're there, they go to work every day, they pay the bills and stuff, but they don't interact with the kids at all or whatever. They're just there. They provide, but that's about it. You know what I mean? Or they're out and about with their friends or whatever. But anyway, so we've got a situation with Dee Dee, right? A young mother. That evil bitch Christy comes in with her feminine wiles. And she's a Jezebel spirit. Another one, you know, goes and breaks up this little young marriage, right? With this little baby. And now Dee Dee doesn't want to, I guess, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't in her head. Was it because of she was already having medical problems with Gypsy so young? So I guess she didn't want to have her in any kind of child care with anyone else. I don't know the situation there. What I do know is Rod wasn't paying child support. He's even went to jail over it. Okay. So we've got his young mother got that. Now she's got a baby. I don't know when the troubles actually started with the kids. So put that on top of it too. Right. Well, I can see Dee Dee spoiling her as a compensation too of the father's not there. It's like, a lot of mothers single mothers, when something like this happens, they feel a sense of guilt that there's not a father there for them. And I get that. I understand that. I can totally get that. And I can see compensating in ways by spoiling them in a sense. And that doesn't really do a person any favors, spoiling them. But and then when you've got the father who's makes damn good money, because it's a little, there happens to be all these little things in my life going along the way that I know about. My cousin, who's not that much younger than me, is a fisherman, and he is a captain of a fishing boat now, a commercial fishing boat. He's always wanted, that's all he wanted to do since he was a little boy. I'm telling you, a tiny little 2 or 3 year old. That's all he ever wanted to do is fish, 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 fish. And his daddy liked to fish too, and all this fish, fish, fish. This is my mom's sister's son, right? Fish, fish, fish. And they got this property way out in the woods. That man, uncle lived 20 minutes out from town. We had to drive just to get to their home. They had a couple acres. But luckily for my little nephew, they had just across the way, man, not even a half a block distance. There was a little pond or a little lake or something with fish in it. So those boys had happened his whole life. And then his father and that side of the family, grandfather, uncle, I don't know who, some of them were fishermen, like commercial fishermen, and they would take him saltwater fishing too as he got a little bit older. And then he loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. That's all he ever wanted to do. Okay. We first got his job. All his money went to fishing stuff. Okay. So all he ever wanted to do. And so when he got out of high school, he worked a couple little jobs, and then he got as a deckhand. Guys, even the deckhands get paid good money because you got to go out. Depends on what kind of fishing job you're doing, but the kind that go out for periods of time, yeah, they got to pay them well. There's people on there that just cook for them. You got to think about that too. They get paid well, just because they're gone all the time. Okay, now these dudes make a lot of money, and then you move up to just fishermen, and then you move up to you're supervising a bunch of fishermen. But to get to a boat captain, then that's just not moving up. He had to go to school. He had to take all these tests. He had to do all kinds of shit. You got to learn all the maritime laws and all the safety shit and all this stuff. You're responsible for all these people and the rules of what fish you can catch and how big they can be. The whole fucking thing. There's laws with everything. So they make good damn money. So there's no excuse he wasn't paying them child support, and even went to jail over it. So, and one of the worst things you can do, and I'm guilty of it myself, and this is one of my really biggest regrets in my life, one of them, is you should never speak bad about the other parent once you've gotten a divorce. It's not the kid's fault. And all they're hearing is, you know what I mean? It's not like I did it that much, but I did. And I feel bad about that. But you should never do that. But I'm wondering, was Dee Dee doing that? And then Gypsy hears like, God, and she sees Gypsy's not stupid. She knew that he's just started a whole new thing and got all these kids from Christy, and then some other kid, Nicolette or whatever her name is, got these kids, and it's just Gypsy. And at first, she wasn't in Missouri, guys. You remember that? I don't know how far they lived apart, but damn, in the same state. That's your kid in the same state. It should, maybe if you live in one side of Texas and they live in the other, but come on. And he's not there. So a lot of times, what happens, guys, is this develops, or even if they're in the same household, though, guys, where the one of the parents really doting on him and spoils them. More so with girls, it's the father that does it, and it's the mother that's hard on them. It's typically how it goes. But anyway, and they learn to get these. They have these separate masks: one for dad, one for the parent that dotes on them, and then one for the other asshole parent, right? And they got to learn. And what they do is they learn which each parent expects of you, what they want, what they like, all that shit, and they're paying attention to everything so they get it right. They don't want to piss the one off. They want to keep making the other one happy and think they're wonderful. Do you understand? It makes sense. And then when they get older, now they're not dealing with parents. So what they do is they learn, they mask and mirror everyone and put on the mask with whoever's in the fucking room. They learn to do this. That's why they learn they're paying attention to everything you do and say and all your likes and all your wants and everything you've ever said, everything you've ever wanted to do. They have an uncanny ability to take in all that information and remember that shit. Okay? But they also have a way of when you're talking to them, and they all do it, watch your interviews, is they'll look at you with this stare like I'm not paying attention to you. What the fuck? This is of no importance to me. I don't care. But they're not. They're taking in every bit of it to use against you or to know how to be around you. So this is how they're created in adulthood and pull off all their evil shit. Instead of just trying to battle, trying to please each one of the parents and putting each mask on at the right appropriate time and all this shit, then you start to, eventually you're working everyone that way because that's how you got to survive, right? And then it goes into adulthood, of course. But they always end up using it not in good ways. It's not like they ever mask the people and mirror what they like and then they use it to the positive, like, oh, well, I know they like this or they're into this or whatever, so you know what I mean? I'll do things, or I'll make little activities we're going to do, or little things we want to do as friends or whatever, to have to do with those things, right? Not remember so you can fucking use it against them somehow, right? So it always takes an evil turn. Is my little issue with it here? Why does it always take an evil turn? Just because they're, but they're very evil. They're very dangerous people because they're tricking you. They're always on the surface telling, like, oh, yeah, I agree with that. I like that too. Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, well, yeah. And they act like they're kind and generous and they'll volunteer to do, but they don't come. They often don't come through. That's another thing they do. I told you about they won't do confrontation. They can't handle confrontation. She'll do it like Ash Blonde 6. She'll do it behind, an anonymous like that where there's plausible deniability. I told you that. Always plausible deniability. Is it for sure Gypsy? We all know it is, but there's plausible deniability. It says Ash Blonde 6 there. She can do it that way. Barely coherent, but, she takes a stab at it. Pun intended. So this is how these are created like this. This is what happens. This is why you got to be. This is why you can fuck up your kids in a million different ways. Not even mean it. So this is what we're dealing with now. And then they're evil, and she's got to have narcissistic supply, and she has to get it by seeing other people all upset and suffer, pushing other buttons, or also she can get it through admiration and people, you know what I mean? People giving her compliments and doting over her. Oh, you're so great and wonderful. She gets plenty of that online and stuff. She gets plenty of that. Okay? So that's what she has to do. She has to get the narcissistic supply. They have to. These motherfuckers won't function. And she's got to have a combo of seeing people suffer or people just upset or in some kind of state or whatever because she's pushing the buttons to do it. I'm sure she's hell behind the scenes with the people that she's around. I'm sure she's just fucking pure hell with some of them, man. But remember, she's got to keep the mask on, too. You understand? So she's Miss Friendly, Wonderful, Sweet, Kind, little to most people all the time. It's shit she's pulling behind the scenes. And when she needs to use it, she will. She'll turn on any one of those motherfuckers